John 13:2. Kai deipnu genamenu, tu diabolou ede beblekatos esten kardian, hena paradoi alton, Judas, Simonas, Iskariotou. As we begin, let's note that we have a genitive noun, genitive participle, genitive noun, genitive participle. We have two genitive absolute constructions. Remember, that's a way of setting apart a clause, giving it a distinct subject, giving it a verb. Usually these are temporal, not always, but usually temporal, little adverbial participial constructions. So let's try temporal. We'll add in the word when. And when supper was happening, and when the devil already had cast, that's from balo, a perfect participle, had cast into the heart, that is into the heart of Judas Iscariot, that Judas, son of Simon, implied son, Judas of Simon, that is the Iscariot, should hand over, should betray him, that is, should hand over or betray Jesus, ... There's a lot of different stuff we could talk about here. So what shall we say? Let's start with henna. We know that any verb until the next comma or period, we're expecting it to be subjunctive. So this verb here, even though you might have trouble recognizing it, is going to be subjunctive. We've told you whenever you see a da or do and you don't know what it's from didomi. So this is from paradidomi, which means to hand over, or in this case, to betray him, that is, to betray Jesus, paradidomi. Now, 72% of the time, I believe, following henna, it's an aorist subjunctive, so we could just say, well, I think this is aorist active subjunctive. My nominative is right here, that's third person singular, so I'm expecting to be aorist active subjunctive third singular. You would be correct. You say, I wish I knew more about that. Well, if it had reduplication with the Yoda, we'd say it's a present subjunctive, but it doesn't, so that nails it as an aorist subjunctive. Granted, the ending is a little strange because it is a me verb, so we're just going to set that aside. I'd like to say something finally about the name here, Judas. We know who this is from our knowledge of the scriptures, Judas Iscariot. But here, Judas, that's your nominative. Judas was going to hand him over, right? That Judas would hand him over. And then Judas is further identified with apparently the name of his father, Judas of Simon, right? Because people didn't have family names or surnames at this time. So they were identified by other family relationships of Simon and identified by places they came from, like Jesus was identified as being from Nazareth. Here, Judas is being identified as, he's identified as Iskariotou. Most people think this is a transliteration, writing with Greek letters, the Hebrew Ish Kariot, right? Man of Kiriot. And so this became another way of identifying which Judas, because it's a relatively common name. Which Judas are we talking about? We're talking about Judas, who's also known as the man from Kiriot, or known as Judas, son of Simon.